Well, hello, I am Corvette Hop and welcome to the channel. Today we're going to work on this 2014 Corvette. Specifically, we're going to remove the spoiler and install a Stage 3 spoiler. With that, keep on watching and keep those cars on the road. To install a spoiler like this, we need to remove the entire rear fascia. And that's all this area right here. But hey, don't worry, I'm going to show you exactly how to do that. This is the spoiler that comes with the Z51 package on the Stingray Corvette. Now, while it's a nice spoiler, I wanted something a little more beefy and a little more sportier. Because of that, I decided to install the Stage 3 spoiler. And this is what the Stage 3 spoiler looks like. Now, I'm going to show you how to completely remove the Z51 spoiler and install a new Stage 3 spoiler. We're going to go through the process step by step. The first thing I'm going to do is remove the rear trunk seal. It is located closest to the spoiler. As you can see, there are no screws and it simply just pops out, just like I'm demonstrating right here. Okay. Now you can stop it. Now we're going to use a T15 socket and remove 10 screws under the seal. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Now we're just going to put the screws at a location where we can easily find them and put them back. Now we're going to go ahead and remove 2 screws near the exhaust area with a 10mm socket. One is located right here, and another one is located over here.
Another one?
Yeah. I'm going to go ahead and pull out the mud flaps because there are 2 screws they're going to have to get to here in a little bit. Of course, there are mud flaps on both sides, so pull them both out. Next, remove 3 small bolts just behind the driver's side rear wheel. Now, remember, there are 3 on this side. There's also another 3 on the passenger side behind the rear wheel. Note, one of these screws also holds the rear mudguard into place. Don't forget, there are also 3 screws on the passenger side at the same location. Now that both mudguards are removed from the rear wheels, you can go ahead and use a T15 socket and remove 2 each screws on each side, the left side and the right side rear wheels. Now, as you can tell, there's not a lot of room to remove those 2 T15 screws. Now, don't forget, there's 2 on the rear passenger side of the car also. Next, we're going to remove 4 more bolts using a 10mm socket underneath the car. This is the location of those bolts. These, of course, are located on the left rear of the car. And there are also 2 on the right rear of the car, which I'll show you in a second. This is the first time I realized how dirty the car gets under the rear fascia. Next, we're going to have to remove the trim around the taillight. So let's go ahead and put a little tape around it to protect it to ensure that we don't get it scratched up as we remove it. Go ahead and tape up underneath the left and the right rear taillight trim. Now I'm just applying a plastic tool underneath the trim to pop it loose. Just be a little careful as you remove the taillight trim to ensure that you don't scratch it up. Go ahead and pop each tab until you can get it completely out. Once the driver's side is done, go ahead and move to the passenger side taillight trim. The reason we remove the taillight lens trim on the left and right side is so that we can get at this T15 screw. Now, of course, there is one on the left side and one on the right side of the car. And now removing the T15 screw on the right side of the car. There we go. With all the screws and bolts out, I can now pull back on the rear fascia. You may notice the cardboard box that the spoiler came in. This is so the fascia does not hit the ground and scratch it up. Also pull back the right side of the fascia so that the left and right side are pulled back equally. We now need to remove both taillight assemblies. Here we have a total of 4 7mm bolts holding in the light assembly. 1, 2, 3, and 4. We are doing this so that we can get to the nuts on the bottom of the spoiler. Once all screws have been removed from the taillight assembly, just go ahead and let it set in place. We only need enough room to get at the nuts on the spoiler. Go ahead and remove the right taillight assembly also. We can now remove the 9 nuts on the bottom portion of the spoiler. Use a 10mm socket to do this. Of course, all 9 nuts are located on the back side of the spoiler along the full length of the spoiler. Once again, by removing both rear tail light assemblies, it sure made it a lot easier getting to all of those 10mm spoiler nuts. Hey, I don't know about you, but I'm all for anything that makes it easy. Once all 9 nuts have been removed, you can go ahead and remove the spoiler. Now that came off really easy. I was really expecting some 3N double-sided tape on the back side of this spoiler. This is the location of the nuts on the back side of the spoiler. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Now go ahead and install the new spoiler. Hey! How about that? A perfect fit. Install the 10mm nuts onto the spoiler and reinstall everything in reverse order that it was removed. I now reinstalled everything in reverse order, have the rear fascia installed and the spoiler on the car. Now let's get to work on the spoiler. I installed cushions per the instructions of the spoilers. These cushions will stop water from getting where the winglet screws go. I also put 3M double stick tape at these locations per the spoiler instructions. Of course, the 3M double stick tape helps mount the winglets along with the screws to the spoilers. And now attaching the double stick 3M tape to the left side of the spoiler. Go ahead and remove the backing on the 3M tape. It's now time to install the winglets. Alright. Now I'm simply installing the screws on each end of the winglet so I can align it properly against the tape. On this other end. Once done, simply move to the left side and install that winglet.
Okay, all I'm doing is putting the screws in so I can line it up before I press it in and have it adhere to the tape. Yeah, right there.
Go ahead and install all the screws on the winglets and then we'll move on to the Wickerbill.
Okay. Okay, we'll go ahead and install the Wickerbill.
Take note, the screws that we used on the Wickerbill are a little bit longer than those that we used on the winglets. Simply tighten down all 4 screws on the Wickerbill and all of those on the winglets with an Allen wrench. With that, we are done. I'll go ahead and show a little bit of video how it looks on the car.
Hey, I think this turned out great, and I hope you learned something. If you like what you see, go ahead and subscribe to the channel right here. And hey,
keep those cars on the road.